Hi everyone, welcome to Kamaudacity. This is Kamau Mahakoe. Today I want to look at the whole situation that's happening now with the Carter family. For those who are familiar with the Carter family, I know for Jamaicans, um, right now it's the big thing in the social media news. If you're not familiar, the Carter family is a family out of Jamaica living now in the United States. They are a YouTube family. They have a YouTube presence as well as other social media platforms. They, their presence on YouTube typically is a family oriented package. Um, they basically let you into their home and they do pranks, they do just everyday things that families do. And the Carter family, I would say, is very popular or has been very popular, at least among Jamaicans and those in the diaspora. I don't necessarily follow them, but I am aware of them. I've seen them pop up in my news feed. I hear people talking about them. Certainly in recent weeks, because of this whole cheating scandal. So the Carter family is now in a moment of vulnerability, a moment of distress, because the husband, known as CMR, Cushane, again, I don't know these individuals, I'm just offering my thoughts, my advice, if you may, as one YouTuber to another YouTuber, as one woman to another woman, as a sister to a brother, as an onlooker to the persons involved in a situation. I'm offering my thoughts. So I don't know any member of the Carter family or need to know them, but we can learn from what we see happening with others. We can offer our opinion, even our advice, and help each other. So, a young lady, as far as I know, her name is Shani or Shani. I've heard the different pronunciations. I'm going to go with Shani. She has come out to declare that she has been involved with the husband of the Carter family, who goes by the name of CMR or Cushane. As far as I know the story, that's how it goes. If you know of any other way, you can feel free to enlighten me. But as far as I have gathered, that is how it goes. And the whole thing has blown up. Persons clearly, when something like this happens, persons are going to put in their penny's worth for different reasons. Some are going to ride the story simply because it's a big social media story and they can get some clout from it. They can hitch their wagon to a star, so to speak, and get some run-ins from it. Others are genuinely concerned. Others genuinely have grown to love the family and what they represent, even for Jamaicans. The fact that as a Jamaican family, albeit they live overseas, but this is a Jamaican-based family, Jamaican rooted, they have Jamaican roots, and they are relatively successful in social media. So a lot of Jamaicans, just for by virtue of that, actually look up to them and feel inspired by them, feel hopeful because of what they have achieved. the fact that they have these beautiful, vibrant kids who seem, well adjusted. They were loved by a lot of persons. And so now, with this situation, clearly emotions are high, people are judgmental, some persons just offering their help, their support, persons bashing other persons, some bashing the young lady who is at the root of this, Shania, some bashing CMR, sorry, some even bashing Crissy, believe it or not. And so I would like to offer my thoughts to each of these individuals, whether or not they will actually even see this video or hear it. That's not important. I'm really offering my thoughts to persons who would be in similar situations. A woman who finds herself in a similar situation to what Crissy is in now. A man who finds himself in a similar situation to what CMR is in now. A young lady who finds herself in a similar situation to what Shania is in now. These are my thoughts to anyone in these situations. It doesn't have to be that Crissy will hear this, or CMR will hear this, or Shania will hear this, or even care what I am saying. But if you find yourself in that type of situation, this is my advice to you. I am going to begin, though, with the advice that I've heard others give, and I want to address particularly the advice that I've heard other people give to Crissy. I want to address this first because it is of concern to me. Some of the advice that I've heard coming from other women, coming from even whom I would refer to as elderly women. I've heard some grown ass over the hill women give some advice to this young woman, because Crissy is a young woman. And I'm going to go through some of the points that I'm hearing women advise this young woman. I'm saying, are you serious? Are you seriously saying these things to this woman who finds herself in a situation where her husband stepped out of the relationship? Her husband has been cheating on her. Her husband, through his indiscretions, has caused disgrace to come down on his wife, on the family, has put their livelihood in jeopardy because of his indiscretions, because of his lack of discipline. And you are saying these things to the wife? So let me tell you some of the things I'm hearing that people are advising Crissy to do. I've heard people say, Crissy, go back to him, take him back, because he wasn't abusing you, he wasn't beating you, your bills were being paid. Grown ass over the hill women are advising Crissy that simply on the grounds that she was not being buff and punched down and battered, because she was not being hit, and because as far as we know, she was not being hit, she was not being verbally abused, as far as we know, her bills were being paid, because of that, she's to stay. On those grounds, she's to stay. So what message are we sending to our girls? That if you're in a relationship, once he's not physically punching you in the face, once he's giving you money, you must sit down and take any other kind of abuse, any other kind of humiliation, any other kind of disrespect. This is the message we're sending to our women, our young girls coming up. Listen, this long suffering thing that our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmas went through, we need to put a stop to it. This long suffering and staying in the marriage for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years just to say, oh, we've been married for 25 years, we've been married, and not recognizing the torture of enduring that abuse simply because he didn't punch out your teeth, or simply because he handed you some money to take care of the basic necessities. You are to stay. A lot of our grandmothers and mothers, they were not happy. Yes, they married for a very long time, but they were not happy. They didn't feel loved. They didn't feel cherished. They didn't feel supported. They were just there enduring, and the time just happened to pass. Till one day they wake up and, oh, it's been 25 years. Oh, we've been married for 25 years. But what kind of experience has it been? Think back of the faces of your mom and your grandma and your great grandma. Were they happy faces? Reflect on it. When you were growing up, most of the time, was your grandmother's face a happy face? Was your mom's face a happy face? A lot of times we have to say no. And when you really think back on it, maybe as a child, you weren't conscious of what was going on because things were going over your head. You weren't privy to certain information. You may have seen things where you couldn't put everything together. Some of us as children, we were wise enough, to piece things together, and we were conscious of certain things. But some of us, we just went through, we just knew mom and dad were in the house, grandma and grandpa were in the house. But in the house, enduring what? And now we're telling our young women that they're to sit down and take disrespect, they're to sit down and take abuse, because it's not physical abuse, because him not block up your face. You're to sit down and take it. That's the advice you're giving to Crissy. So stay with him because him not beat you up. Huh? That's one of the things I'm hearing people telling Crissy. Another thing I'm hearing, they're saying, oh, well, Cushane is a hot boy. Cushane is a social media personality. Cushane has a relative fame. And so you have to expect that he's going to want another pum pum. You're going to expect he might get pum pum over the set. People are short game, so he must take it one at a time, or two at a time, or three at a time. We are telling this woman that because her husband has a presence on social media, she's to expect and she's to tolerate him cheating on her because he can't help it. It's just part of that comes with the territory. Is that what we're saying to women? That once your spouse is a famous singer, a famous actor, a famous social media personality, you are to just accept that he's going to give in to the temptation. And what are we telling our men? That they can't have integrity once they get fame? So we are to accept it. We're to say, this is okay, go ahead and do it. I understand. I remember someone was making a joke once about Denzel Washington, and no, well, actually, he was making a joke about Halle Berry, right? And someone was asking the question, if your if your husband, they ask both male and female, if your husband got the chance to make love to Halle Berry, would you allow him? And to the women, if your husband got the chance, if your wife, to the men, if your wife got the chance to make love to Denzel Washington, would you allow it? And just out of jest, out of fun, and people were saying, well, yeah, it's Halle Berry, I would let him go. And oh yeah, well, I mean, it's Denzel, I will let her go. It's a similar thing. It's like you're saying, once the person is in this kind of idol, kind of almost deity like status that social media throws upon them, we have to expect that they are going to cheat, they're going to allow themselves access to what's available. Is this what we want to accept as male or female about our spouses? Once we're in the limelight, we're not going to extend any discipline, we're not going to have any integrity once we're in the limelight. Is that what we're saying? Another advice, or not advice, but another comment I heard someone giving to Crissy is, just look at this girl, just look at Shania, look at her, she's beautiful. She doesn't wear makeup, she didn't have on any makeup, and look at her compared to Crissy. That's what this person was saying. Crissy is in makeup, Crissy is in her wigs and whatever, and Shania didn't have any makeup, and look how gorgeous she is. So they're basically saying, if you see the other woman and your eyes telling you that this other woman or whoever is gorgeous, then your common sense must tell you that he's going to choose her over you. So the only criteria is that where we're at, the criteria we use to measure persons is what they look like physically. There are always going to be persons more beautiful. Beauty is subjective. It's subjective, right? Somebody will always be perceived as more beautiful than you and less beautiful than you, depending on who is looking. Is that the only criteria we're going to use? A beautiful girl is always going to come along, so she's just going to accept, okay, I'm this girl hotter than me, this girl prettier than me, so my husband is gonna go with this girl. Is that what you're telling the woman? Another thing I hear is, oh well, you guys have built this social media empire, right? That's the term. You have built this social media empire, you have to protect it at all costs. Are you going to allow a little cheating? You're going to allow a little cheating to mash up your empire that you build? He's a Jamaican man. You know, say, I'm going to give you a bun. So, because you're with a Jamaican man, you must expect to get bun. You must expect him to cheat because he's a Jamaican man. Are Jamaican men defective? Don't Jamaican men have the ability to exercise self-control and integrity? And when they have made a commitment to someone, they stand by that commitment? Is that what we're saying? Because Jamaican man wild and Jamaican man are going to give bun. So if you're with a Jamaican man, is that what you're going to expect? And because you have worked together to build something, you're to hold on to it no matter what? Is that what we're saying? Is that the advice we're giving to the young women coming up? You can build something with someone, and if it gets to the point now where you find that you're going to have to compromise your values, compromise your dignity, as singing Sandra said, keep your money, I'm going to keep my honey and die with my dignity. No matter what you have built together, no matter how far you have come, if you find yourself having now to compromise your dignity, that thing is not worth holding on to, whatever it was, no matter how high you built it together. You can build something else. Then I heard somebody else telling Crissy, it's your fault make the man left you. This gray tone person telling the young woman, it's your fault make him left you because you're bossy. And him did have to come out of the house because more than likely in the house I try boss him around. I make nice. I tell him send I put the plate this so I tell him this and that. Come on, what are we talking about? So women must be what? You must be submissive, you must do as he says, you must whisper in your own home. You can't raise your voice in your home as a woman for whatever reason. Is that what we're saying? Are we saying that if you have a strong, dominant personality as a woman, which I certainly do, and many women do, women who, you have alpha females, you have alpha females. It's a thing, it's real. It doesn't mean that we are not cooperative. It doesn't mean that we don't have partners who we are very amicable with. It means that we are dominant. So because we are dominant, we can expect to be cheated on. Is that the message? Because we have kids who we want to grow in a stable environment, we must put up with anything. Is that what we're saying? The little that I have seen of Crissy, she's a dominant person. She has a dominant personality. She's a boss lady, and I've heard her say I've just watched a few videos. I don't know them like that. I don't have the time to follow them like that, right? But with the whole thing blowing up, you're gonna see stuff popping up in your newsfeed, right? From what I know of her, the little that I know of her, she has a strong, dominant, boss lady personality. And I've heard her say, I'm a strong woman. I will get through this. And I have no doubt that she's going to get through this. So my advice now to Crissy and to any young lady who is like Crissy, who find yourself in a situation where you're bossing up, you're building your empire, you're putting in the work. Her work ethic is up there. Crissy reminds me of Cora Obidi. She reminds me of her in terms of her work ethic, building her social media presence. The fact that Cora also came under some heavy stress recently with the divorce of herself and her husband, and the other people attacking her and trying to make her the villain. I see similarities in the situations of Cora Obidi and Crissy Carter. People telling you that because you're a strong, dominant woman, you are the villain. After they see you reeling from the attack, they're telling you is you cause it. You call it down on yourself because you're not supposed to be dominant. There are dominant women. Deal with it. There are dominant women. And you cannot stifle dominant women. You cannot hold down dominant women. And if you can't boss up as a man, don't take up a dominant woman. It's not going to work. If you are not secure in yourself as a man, stay away from a strong, dominant woman. You can't handle her. You're going to do things out of your insecurity, your weakness. you're going to have indiscretions that's going to jeopardize what she's trying to build. If you can't boss up, stay away from a boss lady. Stay away from a boss lady. The little that I know of Crissy, she's a boss lady. She's artistic, she's ambitious, she's versatile, she's enterprising. She has a very strong, good work ethic. The little that I know is Crissy sailing that ship, is Crissy carrying the weight of that. And I'm saying this based off just a little, because I don't have the time to delve really into this, right? But just the little that I know of that young lady, she's carrying this thing. She's a boss lady. I recognize that because I am that. And I know that if you can't boss up as a man, stay clear of women like us, because you're going to end up doing things that are they're just going to reveal your weakness, your own insecurity, your own inability to ride up front. If you can't ride with a boss, stay out of the way. So my advice to Crissy is ignore all of those comments that person's made to you if you had the misfortune of hearing them from anybody. Those comments that I started with, I made sure to start with these ridiculous, backward, degrading comments that I have heard other people say in terms of offering advice. So ignore those. My advice to you is keep on bossing up. You will get through this. Whether you decide to stay in the marriage and work on it, which that is entirely your choice. You must know what your priorities are. You must know if there's something there to salvage, if it is worth salvaging. You must decide. Don't let anybody else tell you to stay or to leave. It's up to you and your husband if you're going to be willing to do the work, and it will take a lot of work. Some of that trust will never be regained, and it's something you're just going to have to live with. There are things when persons allow themselves to engage in these indiscretions and you lose trust. Some of that trust will never be regained. It will never be regained. You're not going to go back ever to where you were. However, it's a matter of deciding what are the priorities. There are 4 kids involved. They are part of the priority. You are a priority. Can you live with it? Can you move past it? But just understand that it's not completely salvageable. Some things are irreparable. You just have to be realistic, be pragmatic. Can you work with it? And if you decide to work with it, then certain things you have to get past them and let them go. Get past them, let them go, and move forward. To CMR or to anyone in the position that CMR finds himself in right now, like I said, when you find yourself with a boss lady, when you find yourself with someone who is an alpha female, a go-getter, highly ambitious, highly independent. When you're with a boss lady, you have to boss up. And you have to understand it is your duty to support her and to protect her. And you also protect her from women who are going to come and try and derail her through you. You have to have her back. Because I heard Crissy say in one of her videos, you know some people not like me. You know some people not like me and you do this now to give them things to talk about. When a woman is like her, she's going to have a lot of persons who don't like her for the mere fact that she's ambitious and dominant and considered bossy. They don't like her because people generally don't like women to be that. So it gives them the greatest pleasure to knock her off her high horse, as they would see. It gives them the greatest pleasure to bring her down to size, to cut her down to size, because in their eyes, she too up there. Whether or not she deliberately doing anything, she might not even be concerned with them. She just going in her pace, doing her thing. They are taking it personal. She's showing them up. She's doing too much. She too much. So it gives them the greatest pleasure to knock her back down to size, bring her back down to earth. Don't allow them to achieve that through you. You're the nearest they can come to her, So they're gonna try to go through you. Don't be the one who's gonna let them in to get to her. You must make it so that people see you and just the look on your face and just the way you carry yourself, they will not even approach you to try disrespect your wife. It will not even occur to them that they can try get through you to your wife, to hurt your wife, to bring her down to size, to humiliate her. You are the boss up. And as you guys know, a lot of Jamaicans look up to you. They look up to your channel as, the fact that you are YouTubers, you're Jamaican born, and you make it to the point where, you're up there in YouTube, you have a strong presence. So you have to consider these things. It's a duty, it's a responsibility you have to yourself for your own reputation, the reputation of your wife, and the safety and stability of your family, your kids. This whole thing blow up now. Social media doesn't go away. What is on social media never goes away. Your kids are going to get to the point where they can search these things for themselves. It's going to blow up. They're going to have access to it. So you have to think more than 5 minutes into the future. You have to think outside of 5 minutes of pleasure. What are the implications of this? And men tend to tell themselves that, oh, I can do whatever, I'll get away with it. Especially Jamaican men, they think that they are so slick. They can do whatever, they can dally through wherever, they can ride the edge of any precipice and never fall off, no matter how many persons they see fall off before them. When you bring another woman into your marriage, you're opening up that marriage to pregnancy, which in Jamaica we call outside pitney, right? You're opening up that marriage to disgrace, your reputation. You're opening up that marriage to disease. Is it worth it? And then Cushane, CMR, you're going to come and say it's a prank. That, I mean, putting your wife through this, you see how she's hurting, and then you're going to say it's a prank. You know what you're doing? You're absolving yourself even of any responsibility. I heard Crissy say you never once came to her and said, and own up to it and say, I'm sorry. Even after being caught, even after being exposed, you're still trying to protect your name by saying, oh, it's a prank, because you're known for prank. Oh, it's a prank. That was low. In my opinion, that was low. That was low. To Shania, or to anyone who finds herself in the position that Shania is in now, like I said, these people don't have to hear what I'm saying, whether Crissy or CMR or Shania, they don't have to hear what I'm saying. I'm talking to those who are in similar positions, who can open yourself up to good counsel, who can humble yourself and take good advice. Don't think that when you go in and wreck another woman's home, bring shade on her reputation, put her livelihood in jeopardy, don't think that's something to be proud of. That's not something to beat your breast about. If you have a man a sing about your pum pum, you see maga sing about your pum pum because he want your pum pum, maga sing any song we need to sing, forget it. It's not a matter of pride, so one man a sing about your pum pum. Man sing about pum pum every day because they want it. He will say anything to get it. When you wreck a marriage, when you wreck a home, it's nothing to be proud of. This side chick thing is nothing to be proud of. Oh, him want me better than him wife, or me prettier than him wife, or me not for wear makeup, because I'm pretty naturally, and everybody want me, and everybody in my inbox. Yes, they're gonna be in your inbox. It's no big deal. Everybody, they're in all of our inboxes. Whether those of us who are ugly, those of us who are fat, those of us who are skinny, those of us who buff, those of us who maga, those of us who breath smell bad, the whole away, they're in our inboxes. All of us, they're in our inboxes, because most men have very low standards. They'll take anything that moves, and they'll sing songs to anything that moves. It's not a matter of pride. You have to have your own pride. You have to have your own worth based on your own standards. And you have to understand that wrecking another woman's home and bringing shame on her family is not something to sing about. It's it's not something to sing about. Okay? So that's my take. That's my 5 cents worth. For what it is worth, take it or leave it. So as this saga unfolds, I wish for the Carter family all the best, and I really hope that the situation is resolved. It will take time. If you decide to make it work, you have to put in a lot of effort into this. Everybody involved will have to put in some humility. Each person will have to look into themselves and ask, what was my contribution? Where did I go wrong here? How could I have done something otherwise to prevent this? Because I believe everybody involved has contributed in some way. So it's for you to look into yourselves and be humble, be careful, ensure that any decisions you make now don't jeopardize your standing in the future, because what you allow is what will persist. What you allow is what is going to persist. So just be clear on what your standards are and what you're willing to deal with. That's my take. So until next time, this is Kamau, and I'll see you